Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Believe in Bengals podcast presented by FanDuel. I'm your host, Solomon Wilcots. And right now, we're joined by Cincinnati Bengals safety Jordan Battle joining us on the show. Jordan, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. Just coming into the week, enjoying the win and clearing our head for the next opponent.
Man, I got to tell you, when I came to watch you guys during training camp and watch the defense and wanted to see what Al Golden was bringing, man, I was watching you. You were kind of like his lieutenant, man. You were the guy kind of communicating with everyone. You were making plays. Joe Burrow picking him off in the red zone. And I kind of thought, my antenna went up, man. I was like, this dude looks like he's ready. And you've come out like gangbusters, interceptions in each of your first two games to start the season. What really has clicked for you and what has allowed the light to come on where you're making such a big impact on this defense?
Yeah, I think overall it's just, the plan that coach has for us, every day, every week, coming into the week, coming in with the same mentality, the same goals, be plus two in the turnover ratio, which I feel like we're doing a great job of, creating takeaways. I feel like we just got to do better, maybe trying to cause some fumbles. We don't play two games, we don't have no cause fumbles yet. So that's maybe one thing we got to look at, changing. But as far as the plan, the playbook, what we have coming into the games, then the trust that we have as players in the plan, to go out and execute it, has been, good so far. We want to, keep elevating.
Yeah, you guys have two interceptions in each of your first two games. Had two against Cleveland, another two interceptions against Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. We always say in the secondary, Jordan, and you know this, you intercept all tips and overthrows. How have you guys become so good at this, man? This ball ricochets, you guys coming down with it. What kind of drills are you guys doing to be able to perfect that method?
Yeah, I mean, we work all type of drills, especially, this year we started, doing a lot of ball disruption drills before practice,
Yeah.
getting out there maybe 5, 10 minutes early, just get out there, get some stabs, get some punches, get some rips at the ball, just I feel like as DBs, the word out there is we can't catch, but I feel like we're doing a great job of showing that we can catch.
Don't let them tell you that, man. That's just it's apocryphal. It's not true. What
At
if I
all.
told you that the Cincinnati Bengals defense, you guys ranked number one, having played the most snaps inside the red zone through the first 2 weeks of the season? But you guys have been dominating there, getting two crucial stops on the last two drives against Jacksonville. You stop them at the 8 yard line. That stop was critical to get the ball back for the offense. Why have you guys been so good in the most critical area of the field defensively?
Yeah, I feel like if we do a great job on Fridays, on Saturdays, with attention to detail. Those are our days where we work on red area, and we come in, we get the plan, we go out and execute it. We do a lot. We probably get about 30 or 25 plays, walking
Yeah.
through it before we even go out there and do it. So we get a lot of reps. We see a lot of things, so we already prepared when we get out there on the field on game day. So I feel like we're doing a great job with Friday and Saturday practices of taking it from practice to the game.
What were you thinking in this game against Jacksonville? They're moving the ball, man. They score is pretty much lights out. They get down on your 8 yard line. They decide they're going to go for it on fourth down. What was going through your mind? What were you communicating to the other 10 guys in the huddle?
Yeah, man. I feel like the big thing was responding to sudden change.
Yeah, yeah.
First thing I did, like going on the field, I ran on the field after the turnover. I look back at the crowd. I'm like, nah, y'all stand up. Keep cheering. Ain't over yet. And then surely enough, first play, Dax go out there, get a nice stop on first down, make it 2nd and 14. So now we got them, their backs against the wall. Now they gotta, try to get the yards back. So now they playing behind. So I feel like that was the big stop on first down. Helped us. Get off the field, and then obviously beat Brian Robinson. I mean Brian Thomas with a big drop as
Yeah.
well. Helped us out on 4th and 5. That comes from early in the game. Just imposing our will on them. Whenever we could. Hitting them where it was hitting them or in the blocking game. That can kind of spook receivers. That a lot of things that people don't see in the game. But
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like we did a great job of responding to sudden change.
Look, you respond in some most critical moments. You played in some of the biggest games from your high school career at St. Thomas Aquinas through your career at Alabama and now with the Bengals. What has prepared you for these big moments that you know you've already faced in your career and that you're going to be facing as you move forward?
Yeah, like you said, just putting even with my parents, just putting me in the right situations, going back, dating back to, little league, and then high school, then
Yep.
college, just always wanting to play for the best and be around the best people, the
Hmm.
people who gonna make me a better player. So, obviously it started at St. Thomas, powerhouse,
Yep.
Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Yeah, won a lot of state championships. I
Yep.
have like one national championship as well.
Yep.
Going and playing for Nick Saban at Alabama, best of the best is again, just want to compete with the best, learn from the best, and that can, elevate my game. Whatever I can learn and take from somebody else's game and, add it to my game, that'll always make me a better player and I always have room for improvement.
Well, I tell people you have that championship pedigree, man. You have that football IQ that's going to allow you to not only be good in terms of your own individual goals, but that force multiplier that helps people around you to be good. Having said that, man, you guys got some bad news today. Joe Burrow has a grade 3 turf toe injury. That means it's very severe. It's going to require surgery. He's expected to be out for the next 3 weeks. How did you guys receive that news in the locker room as you were walking through the halls and preparing yourself to go through the season without your quarterback?
Yeah, obviously tough blow for us, but as a defense, always that's got to be our extra motivation, on top of the motivation we already have, play for our brother. We know how
Yeah,
bad Nah wants to be out there with us. We know how
yeah.
bad how much of a hurt it's gonna be for him to just be at home or be in the locker room, just see us working and he's not because we know the type of worker he is. The type of things he do in the off season to come back and play for us. So we know what he wants us to do for him. So we're gonna go out there play for him. As a defense, keep getting better. The offense we already know they got a chip on their shoulder. The O line, of course, going to do whatever it takes to go out there and protect whoever's back there playing quarterback for us. So we're gonna be fine with Jake or whoever is in there. So we'll be fine.
What is the thought process with Jake Browning? He was on this team 2 years ago. You guys played 7 games with him. He was 4-3, led the league with 70% completion rate. I got to believe that he threw those 3 interceptions. You guys just kept responding. You kept covering. You had his back. And then in the
Mhm.
critical moments, he came through. And that seems to be something that he has done consistently since he's been in Cincinnati. Your thoughts on Jake Browning?
Yeah, yeah, that's just that's us playing team ball. Giving Jake a chance. We know Jake has it in him. Like you said, my rookie season, he led us to being 4-3 in that season, and we won. We beat the Vikings on one of those games. It was the Vikings, and then it was the Jags as well, which is crazy. You got a chance to do the same thing this year. I mean, and it's tough. I mean, we love Jake. We know what Jake has, what his capabilities are. He can get the ball downfield. He can get the ball to our guys. We got a lot of targets out there for him, so it shouldn't be too hard. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot. The tight ends with
Yep.
Noah, with Mike, and then
Yep.
obviously T and Jamar, Uno with Mitch and Andre. On the outside. So I mean, we'll be just fine. He'll get the ball to those guys, and they'll make plays like they always do.
Of course, this is the Believe in Bengal podcast presented by FanDuel. I'm your host, Solomon Wilcots, and we're visiting with Cincinnati Bengals safety Jordan Battle. And of course, this segment is brought to you by Heroes.com. Of course, this is the mug that you want to go. If you go to Heroes.com, you can get it. It's Believe in Bengals. They make some of the best products, but it's just about celebrating the heroes in our society. And right now, we're talking to one of them who's playing so well for the Cincinnati Bengals. I got to be able to ask you this as well. This is a team that wanted to get off to a fast start. You guys are 2-0. Seems highly improbable after that win in Cleveland. You guys were down, but you come away with a win against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And now you're going to be going to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Their quarterback is out. It was announced at time of this recording, Jordan, that J.J. McCarthy is not going to play. It's going to be the veteran, 10-year veteran Carson Wentz. What comes to mind when you know they're going to be making that kind of change?
The first thing is obviously, experience. With Carson Wentz has a lot of experience, so that'll be a big thing for us to know, with our PSLs, our pre-snap looks,
Yeah.
before the ball is snapped. He's seen a lot. we know he knows what to look at before the snap. So we got to be good on our pre-snap looks. Just having make sure everybody on the same page before the plays even ran. You know what I'm saying? And then obviously, JJ's a great quarterback, but Carson Wentz coming in, he got a lot of playoff experience, a lot of games under his belt. So it's just staying true to our defense, staying true to our cause. Going out there and do what we do best is just make plays, cause takeaways.
What goes through your mind when you know 1 minute you're preparing to take on a quarterback who's basically would have been playing in his third NFL game in J.J. McCarthy? You probably saw the first two games where defenses were getting to him, but this is a guy
Mhm.
who's very resilient. He has that tendency to bounce back. But now you're going to be playing against a 10-year veteran, someone who's played a lot of football. For you at the safety position, what comes to mind when you're playing against a more veteran quarterback?
Just stand true to our coverage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not maybe not jumping as much routes as we would if the younger guy was playing. Because guys like that see more of the field. Carson Wentz is a guy like I said, play a lot of experience. He knows where the bait is on the field, and he knows where the shots are. So just staying high, and playing true to our coverages, and then going out there making plays. Obviously, whoever's out there with our rush, we'll always have a chance to make plays on the ball. So when we get those chances, we just got to make sure we capitalize like we've been doing in the past.
Now, you got to tell me what's the conversation with Jamar, knowing that you're going to be going up against his buddy over there, Justin Jefferson, someone that you saw a lot year after year when you were in college too. He's just as potent as the guys you guys have in your locker room. I mean, they're very identical. They do a lot of similar things, and someone you're definitely going to have to keep your eye on in this game. What comes to mind when defending him?
Yeah, obviously knowing where 18 is before the snap is key.
Yeah.
To winning the game. Eliminating as many targets as we can to number 18 will allow us to have a better chance of winning. So knowing where he is on the field, obviously we know he's explosive with the ball in his hands. Great route runner. Yeah, we tip our hat off to him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We know who he is. So we know how we got to defend him. So just making sure he doesn't beat us, you know what I'm saying? Make somebody else beat us, make somebody else win the game because we know 18 has, every capability to take over a game.
Well, Jordan Battle, hey, we want you to keep up the great work. We appreciate the way that you approach what you're doing, not just on the field, but in the community as well. You represent the Cincinnati Bengals proudly. Wish you all the best, my friend. Thank you for taking the time to join us right here on the Believe in Bengals podcast, presented by FanDuel. All the best to you, okay?
Thank you, my God. I'm glad to
All
be here.
right. All right. Thank you. We want to
Appreciate it.
thank everyone for joining us. We'll see you next time.